Hey man, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining. Today we're talking about Jamaica. Spent 5 days down there in Kingston with a famous cricket player, Gayle, and a ton of his friends and fans from around the world at his 40th birthday party. So I'm going to get into that, give you the details of my weekend there, and give you the highlights of why it was a great time. If you're catching up, this is Matt Javitt, part of the traveling couple with Nikki. We share all of our stories and adventures on not only this podcast, but at passportjoy.com. Go there to check out information to find out how to have a great weekend getaway, week-long vacation, or if you're trying to do something like we did, where we took 27 months to travel to 35 countries around the world. We give a lot of insight and details there, so check that out. And while you're there, you'll see the journey tab at the top that breaks it down month by month, country by country, all the places we went, and it makes it easy for you to see and potentially discover where you might be traveling next to get those details. Please check out the policearoundtheworld.com. That's where you get the Police Brotherhood in Uniform Around the World photography book, 180 pages. I was featured on Fox News nationally, a couple of stations locally, and it continues to get great feedback around the world. This is police officers that I encountered during our journey, and I took photos, and then over a period of time, I kept getting them, and I decided to put it into a book. It's a nice coffee table book. This time of the year would be a great gift for somebody special in your world, or even potentially a law enforcement officer that you might have be friends with or you respect in some way. There's always ways to support us. The easiest way is to go to passportjoy.com. Look at the partners page. Not only do you support us by clicking through one of those links, but you might find something on there that helps you in your travel experience. Trusted House Sitters. That's the website we use to watch 2 cats in Switzerland, a dog in Singapore to stay for free. You'll find Skyscanner and other things on there. ExpressVPN, the VPN that we use to stay connected in a safe and secure way as we travel around the world. I'm not sure. I always ask for ratings, but it's so difficult to get people to rate. I don't know. If I'm going to ask for one rating right now, this is what I'm going to ask for. World Barbershop Adventures. This is the docu-series where I'm in barber chairs around the world. It is on Amazon Prime. If you live in America, if you live in the United States or in the UK, it's on Amazon Prime. 6 episodes, season 1. If I can get you to rate that, just go to your Amazon device on your phone or on your laptop and just plug in 5-star review, say something cool. It's literally about a minute. You just got to put in like a title and 3 of I don't even know, maybe 1 sentence about the show. And that's going to help, because what it does is it pops up that star rating. If you ever watch Amazon Prime, it has those stars at the top. That feeds into that. So if you rate it through the website, that is what people see. So if they're searching for, maybe they're searching for India, Kolkata, India, and up pops my series, and they're looking at it and they say, whoa, this thing has great ratings, 5-star ratings. Let's check this out. It's going to drive more people to look at the World Barbershop Adventures series, which I'm proud of. And I realize that series isn't for everybody, because we do a lot of stuff in the barber chair, but it also gives an insight of the cultures around the world. So on this particular series, I highlight Osaka, Japan, Bali, Indonesia, Kolkata, Queenstown, New Zealand. So if they get to go there and they discover it, and they get some insight on not only the cultures in the area, but then they get to see the barber experience as well. So that's the one thing I'm asking for right now for a rating. If you have the time, again, it's literally a minute. And if you're on Amazon a ton, it's that easy. You just put World Barbershop Adventures into the Amazon search engine, and bam, up I pop, put in a little rating there, and off you go. All right, that's it. If you want to get a newsletter, go to passportjoy.com, put your email address in the newsletter area there, press go, and you'll get a weekly newsletter that keeps you informed on everything that's going on in our world. And then I also share some travel advice from time to time. All right, that is it. Let's get into this fun episode talking about Kingston, Jamaica, and my time with the famous cricket star, Gayle. All right, let's talk about this trip to Kingston, Jamaica. So it came about, and it was a unique trip for me because, I don't know, for many reasons. One, I was traveling solo. It was the first time I've traveled solo in a long time, obviously, but traveling with Nikki over 2 years. But it was an odd thing for me as well because I was going to Kingston, not necessarily for sightseeing, but it was to hang out with a particular person. In this case, Chris Gayle. He's a famous cricket player. In America, we really don't know cricket players, but he is definitely famous. He's essentially like a Sammy Sosa, as baseball is for us. He's like a Sammy Sosa type where he hits a lot of long balls. And I learned a bit about cricket over the last 4 or 5 years, but there's similarities to baseball, but not a ton. It's kind of the same where you try to hit it far and long, and that's what Chris is really good at. So he's known around the world for being a big personality, but also a long hitter. And he was turning 40 years old, so he's at the tail end of his career. He's still actively playing, but he's towards the tail end of his career. And so he's having this big blowout bash where people from all over the world were coming to support him, hang out, and have a great time. To back up a little bit, the reason or the way that Chris and I became friends is about a year ago, we befriended each other on Instagram through the World Barbershop Adventure series. He took a liking to the show, and then we just formed a friendship online. A lot of it has to do with his lifestyle. He likes smoking cigars. He's kind of a nightlife guy. And we just connected on a lot of levels beyond cricket because I really don't know him in that realm. So we became social media buddies. And then in February, as I was reaching out, I was in India. I was having a conversation with some friends there about Chris, and I got on Instagram. I was just telling him about the love he has in India, which is remarkable. It's almost as if he's like LeBron James when he goes to India. That's the level of his stardom in that country. But I was talking to some friends. We started talking about Chris. And through Instagram chat, he invited me to Jamaica for his 40th. Now, this is in February. Fast forward to about July, I reach out and just say, hey, are you serious about me coming to Jamaica for your 40th? And if so, I'd love to be able to like take it all in and stay and really get to understand the culture with him. So he says yes, and bam, there it is, September 18th. I'm on a flight to Jamaica to hang out with Chris and his family and friends and everybody coming in to party. So I get there, and I guess to make a long story short, I stay at his house for 5 days. It's me. There's a couple there from Australia that he's friends with from Melbourne, Australia, Dave and Uni, who I became friends with. And then he's got a few brothers in town. His girlfriend / partner, they're not married, but they have a child together, a 3.5-year-old daughter. They're both in the home, and then he's got some workers, some people that help him with his daily activities. And it's every bit a mansion. It is huge house, bar area, workout facility, theater room, party room, pool, overlooks Kingston. It's just gorgeous. And I'll actually put a link in the show notes to there's a walkthrough online, a YouTube walkthrough of his house that you can check out if you want to. But it's awesome. And as we're there, they're converting it into a place to have this big party for his birthday, which has hundreds of people there, DJs, singers, and all kinds of people coming in. All right. So that's kind of the buzz. So I get in Wednesday night, the buzz is going on for all this activity, and it's a huge buildup because the party is on Friday night. All right. And as I get there, I get picked up from the airport, and I'm picked up in this amazing party bus that's got his 333 flashing inside the bus. Philip, his driver, Philip's also kind of like one of his right-hand man. He picks me up, gets me in the party bus, and it's just me. And the 333 symbolizes essentially, it's for a particular cricket game. He had that many runs in a series. So it's an identifying trademark for him because it's a massive number, and it's a great mark for him in the sport, and it's really important to him that way. So I saw it on many occasions, the 333. His nightclub is called Triple Century, things like that. Okay? So here comes this party bus, picks me up, takes me 45 minutes to his house, overlooks the city, and then I kind of sit there and wait because Chris is actually in a cricket game because the Caribbean, I'm going to screw this up, but essentially it's the Caribbean Cup for cricket is going on at the time, and they're playing different countries while I was there. He had 2 games, one on Wednesday night, one on Thursday night. I missed Wednesday because of my late arrival. I just basically hung out at the house, and on Thursday night I did get to see the game. So late after the game, because there's a lot of people in town, he went to the game. They went out to grab some drinks afterwards. And then around 2:00, he came in, him and his kind of the entourage that was there with his brother and some of his other friends that are in town. Friends from Toronto and London, they're all there. And he gets me set up in a room, go to sleep, wake up the next day, Thursday, and that's when kind of just walking around the house, checking out the action. Guys are playing dominoes. And again, the buzz is happening because they're doing all this construction on his roof, on his outdoor, around the pool area, and there's building his house for this massive party. So that day is kind of, it was cool because Lyndon, his brother, who was awesome. I became real good friends with Lyndon over the weekend. He took us out with his other brother, Chris's two older brothers, Lyndon and Bula, took us out to kind of a authentic lunch at Gloria's Seafood. It's past the Kingston airport, sits like on this little port, on this little, I guess you'd call it like an island, if you will, kind of, sort of, but it's out there in the ocean. So we had to go out on this long drive, go past the airport into this like little port area that's at the tip. And Gloria's serves all kinds of amazing local cuisine. I had this gorgeous fish. Everybody had kind of different sorts of fish. And we had this awesome fish soup. And it was just a great, authentic meal with the two brothers, Philip, the Aussie couple. And we're just kind of hanging out. And another buddy from India that was there. He's Indian, lives in Dubai and in London, but he was great as well. And that's kind of, I guess, just to pause real quick, that's kind of the theme of this weekend, was the chance to interact with people from all over the world. So people from New Zealand, Australia, India, London, Canada, Toronto, Canada, America, obviously. Not a lot of Americans, though. I'm not sure how many more there were than me and Lyndon. But people from all over the world, and local Jamaicans as well, came to celebrate his party. And it was a great celebration. So we had this great lunch. And then from there, we went directly to the cricket game, which was a blast and a lot of fun just to see them in action. And here, I'll give you a taste of the game a little bit. So an exciting game with a lot of music playing, and they last about 3.5, 4 hours. And essentially one team bats the whole way through, and then the next team bats all the way through. So we sat there and watched, in this case, St. Kitts bat the entire way through, and then Jamaica got up and had their batting opportunities. And we were in this like party area where they serve endless Heinekens and rum and everything in there is included. And it was a great time. And again, to take another step back, Chris and his brother and his family took exceptional care of me the entire time. Meals, nights out, just basically everything. They treated me like a king the entire time. His family is amazing, between his brothers, his sister Michelle, and everybody involved. They just made me feel so special and loved, and it was just so cool to be a part of this great unit and have such a blast the entire time. So that night, Jamaica did lose that game, unfortunately, but then we went to the Triple Century nightclub that converts from a restaurant into a bar at night. On Thursday night, it really gets popping. So we get there around midnight and it's dead because Jamaica doesn't really, Kingston in this case, doesn't get going until about 2 a.m. From what we found out. So we get there around midnight, and then it builds, and then it turns into this amazing nightclub. And I guess to make a long story short, we ended up staying there until about 5 a.m. And in the process, it was just fun. Everybody was dancing, having a great time. We were in this VIP section. Usain Bolt was there. The world's fastest man was in the building. And he actually, at one point, we had a chance to talk a little bit. I tried to stay away from as much as I could, but then at one point, he came up to me, which was really cool because I did stand out a little bit. 6'6" white guy with my beard, and I had a hat on. So I stood out a little bit in the club, and he ended up approaching me. And it was awesome, man. It was just a great time to interact with somebody you see on TV all the time, and he was good stuff. But here, I'll give you a little taste of the nightclub. So it was just a lot of that. It was a lot of and Jamaicans are really good at their style of dance, they like play the music and they interrupt it. The DJ and the MC are a really big part of the nightclub scene because they're like constantly interrupting the songs, which later I asked people, I was like, how do you even get like a dance rhythm? Because they're constantly jumping in and saying their 2 cents. But it's just how it is. It's the culture and it's what they do. And it's part of the vibe. So that night, again, at the end of the night, we ended up getting some amazing street food at super late night. You're talking, I don't know, it must have been like 5 a.m. or so. We got some great night food and then headed home. And the next day we rested up because the next day at that point was for Friday, and that was the big party night. And I came in with the idea that Chris might cut my hair. And that was a part of the World Barbershop 2 thing, was the idea that he said he does cut hair, although his brothers said he didn't. But Chris continued to say, like, no, I do cut hair. And part of his big house I described, he had a barber room in it. But what ended up happening was Chris was overwhelmed. He had so much to do. And I was going to, he did offer to cut my beard up. But at the same time, we had a Jamaican barber who lives in Toronto who's a professional, and he was in house and he was making Chris, he was tightening Chris's beard. He was blacking it up because he did some dye, which is big in that culture, in that community, to dye your beard black, because Chris does have grays in it like I do. So we dyed his beard, tightened it up, and made his hair look great. And then he did the same. He just basically tightened my beard up and my line, my edge for my haircut to make me look good for the evening. And so that's going to, at some point in the next couple of weeks, it's going to make a great World Barbershop Adventures video, and I'm excited to release that. So that was during the day. And then it was kind of just rest and relax time because everybody was getting ready for the party, which was scheduled to start at 8, but it really didn't get going until about 10. And then it was a black and white party. So everybody was suited up, looking good. I had a full suit on, no tie, but everybody's ready to go. And then the people started arriving from, like I described, all parts of the world. And the Miss Jamaica was there. The Prime Minister of Jamaica was there. There were famous cricket players there. There were high money dudes from all over the world there. I was getting in conversations that I think some of these cats that I was rolling in money like they were, but some of these guys, you're talking about like 4 or 5 Bentleys, mega yacht, those type of people were in the crowd. And it was just fun to be able to mix it up and have a great time. But then there was also guys like me in the crowds, these Aussie dudes that came in for the party that had been friends of Chris's, these guys from London and Toronto, and just a great mix of amazing vibe and positivity and just a lot of fun. Everybody was dancing and having a good time. And it was just a great event to be a part of, and with I don't know, just a great mix of people. Here, I'll give you a taste. So we're just all kind of just hanging out, dancing. He's got multiple dance areas. There's all you can drink rum and liquor. And there was also like this VIP area where people had bottle service. And it was just amazing. It was just a fun night hanging out. And that was a late one. You're talking about 6, 7 a.m. So then Saturday, and I can't say enough about that night. It was just, it's hard to describe. There's an awesome video. I'll put a video in the link. Obviously, I'm going to highlight it in the World Barbershop Adventures, but there's also a great video that his team, because he has a videographer full-time on his staff, because he's transforming from great cricket player to personality. And his nickname is Universe Boss for many reasons, because he is absolutely appealing around the globe, but he's a showman. He's a personality. He's bigger than life. You're talking 6'3", 250, just a big dude, dreads. And he looks the part and people love him. And he's got this massive, awesome, authentic smile. So I definitely check out the video of the party. His videographer does a great job of capturing it. And it's just a blast and almost too difficult to describe in detail, but it was so much fun. Great food there. It's just endless. So the next night, I mean, everybody, I don't even know. I went to bed around 8 a.m. or so. And then Saturday is a rest day. And then Saturday night, there's a few of us just kind of laying around the house, not really sure, like, hey, what's up with the night? And then about 10, we're all down in his like bar area. And we're like, hey, what's going to happen tonight? People are starting to drink beer and whatnot. And he's like, hey, we're going to go out again around 12:30. And more people showed up. It ended up being about 15 of us. And we just hung out the house for a little bit. And then we loaded up the party van. And the cool part is Chris pulled me out of the party van, and I rode with him, his brother, Chris and his brother, to the club, which was kind of cool, just the three of us. And again, like I said, he treated me special the entire weekend, and that was just another part of it. And just the chance to interact with those two. Chris really didn't drink that night at all, and that was just a chance for us to hang out. But he, again, like I said, he didn't drink, but he took care of everybody. And he just made sure, he's just one of these guys that wants to make sure everybody's having a good time all the time. And so then that night we went to a nightclub. We got there around 1:15 or so, 1:30, got bottle service area, and partied again till late at night. And I'll give you, here's I think this might be a good to show you how they interrupt constantly, but it's entertaining, but it'll give you a taste. You see what I'm saying? But as they speak Jamaican, and by the way, as they speak Jamaican, I can't understand really anything. And sometimes even when they're speaking English, they speak so fast. I know I speak fast, but at times it's like hard to keep up, if that makes sense. But amazing people, a ton of fun. And those DJs are just going after it. And that's part of the MC, how they work it there. But that was it. And we partied that night again until late. It was another late one. And here's a cool story, just to kind of show you how giving Chris is and just how amazing he is. So this is about 5. I can even probably check the time of this. Whoa. I'm looking at the time on the photo. It says 6:15. So this is 6:15 in the morning, and that gives you an idea of how late these nights were. 6:15 in the morning, we're just grabbing some breakfast before we crash out in the morning. And Chris tells me to take a drink of some of this whiskey that he had been gifted, because he knows I love whiskey. I'm a bourbon guy and I'm a whiskey guy. So I drink this whiskey. It's called Yamasaki Single Malt Whiskey 18 Year. And for me, obviously when we were in Japan, I drank a lot of Japanese whiskey, but this is outside of the things I was probably ever attempted to buy, because I tasted, I had a little bit of it as a nightcap for me. And then the next day I looked it up, and this stuff is over $700 a bottle. And that just, to me, it just kind of summarizes like how giving, and he never mentioned the fact that it was expensive. He just said, "Hey, Matt, I know you like whiskey, have some of this." And that was kind of the kindness in the entire weekend. Not only him, but his brother and his girlfriend and everybody in the house was just so amazing and giving. They made sure that I always had something to eat. I was always having a good time, and just inviting and welcoming and amazing. And for somebody that I didn't know that well, we got a chance to get to know each other a lot better over the weekend, but it was a unique scenario for me to get a look at how somebody that is super high profile like him lives on a daily basis. And it is tremendous. And it was a freaking blast. And that was it. So Sunday, I basically laid around the house a lot, watched NFL football, and Chris exited. He was going to, I want to say Bermuda, but it might have been Barbados. He was going to one of the B islands and for another game on Sunday. It might have been Sunday night or Monday, but he left around 2:00 or so. And I basically just laid around, watched NFL football, and got ready because I had we had to leave at 4:30 a.m. Monday morning for my flight out of town the next day. So that was it in a nutshell. I mean, and I'll put links in the show notes in case you do plan on going to Kingston soon. I'll put links in the show notes about the party video, the tour through his house, the Triple Century Sports Bar that Chris owns, and the Fiction nightclub as well. That's where we went on Saturday night. All good places. This wasn't a traditional trip for me because I didn't get a chance really to interact much with the locals. At the cricket game, I did. I had a chance to talk to a lot of locals there, and we went out to lunch at Gloria's. But for the most part, it's not like my typical trip where I'm walking the streets, getting to meet the people, understanding the culture, going to markets and things like that. But I knew that coming in. I knew it was going to be a chance for me to experience something different and have a blast and make friendships that'll hopefully last a lifetime between these dudes from Australia and the different people from London and Toronto, and Chris himself and his brother and his sister and everybody involved. I hope to be able to continue this moving on. And again, this is one of those amazing things about traveling is you get to connect with people that, I mean, this is just such a crazy, unique, amazing story that because I was doing World Barbershop Adventures, I connected with this top 10 cricket player in the world. And then a year later, I'm at his house partying with people around the world. It's just nuts. I know my life is a one big blessing, and every day I just get to live out all these crazy things. But this is just another example of, if you keep an open mind and you have an open heart and you just listen to opportunities that come your way, and then you're not afraid to act on them, amazing, amazing things can happen. And I guess that's all I encourage you to do, is to see the world that way. Watch for opportunities and don't be afraid to take that step or that leap. And because you never know if you might be partying in Kingston with the Prime Minister and the universe boss. Peace. All right, thanks so much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed that episode. It's just a different look into adventures around the world, and it just shows again how social media and connections and just being open to ideas of connecting with other people around the world leads to amazing things. So as always, check out the show notes at passportjoy.com. I will share the information there on some of the YouTube links that I described with I'll walk through his house, the video of the party, and things like that. So check that out. And then also the club and some of the things that we went to while we were in Kingston, in case your travels takes you down there. Again, policearoundtheworld.com. Grab the book, gift it to a police officer or law enforcement officer in your area. I think it's a great gift. And if there's any feedback you can give me, feel free to always reach out. Matt@passportjoy.com. Shoot me an email. Share me information online, and then also rate that on Amazon. World Barbershop Adventures. Put it in your Amazon search bar. It's going to pop up. You're going to see my face getting a haircut by that dude from the old barber in Hong Kong. Type in, as you go there, just click and then put in a quick review. Give me a 5-star rating, and bam, it's going to help me drive more people on Amazon Prime around America and the UK. That is it, folks. Thanks as always. Looking forward to connecting again soon. Have safe travels wherever you might be heading next.